How many seatbelts are in this thing? I feel like I need more.
Sugar Ray is a star man. Even if he's injured, even if he's weakened, he just braces himself. He doesn't bother with a seatbelt.
Marina like starts bending metal to like strap him in.
He looks very confused and angry about this, but he can't fight back right now. Almost panicked as he's being restrained. Just triggered left and right here.
He doesn't like strap up his hands. It's mostly just like a belt over his chest.
Yeah, he still looks a little panicked, but he has to put up with it.
She just reaches into her pocket, gets one of those bitter scotches, and hands it to him if we're going to sit down. He does nothing, but
Yeah, he just stares at it, then unsure of what to do exactly. He mimics something he's seen people do. He unwraps it and puts it into his void, and it just kind of orbits around.
she tried.
Yeah, he looks very, very unsure of what is going on and if he can even trust the people that he's found himself colliding with here. But if it means getting back to the ship, he seems to be pretty gung-ho about it. He doesn't even try to shoot Brisket again, or Tyson for that matter. It's good for him. Your ship is hurtling towards the Arc of the Stars. You will probably arrive shortly. But in the meantime, in the middle of the laser fight, pew pew. We have a few things to cover. Marisol, describe the robots that you brought along with you for that fight.
There's two little small ones she keeps on her. The one with the claws and the one with the hammer hands. She has the liquid whip that's alive. If it's cool with you, I still wanted that like water pressure robot. It probably has like spider legs, and she just keeps it on her back and it has like sort of a water tank, but it's only a small amount, couple gallons I'd say, before she has to refill it somewhere. But she can charge that up with Ripple, or at least the water coming out of it, so it's more of an actual like jet spray effect. And it's meant to be like a cleaning robot, by the way. Also, she brought like the holograms. I was thinking of 3. One of them was just gonna be Galaxy Fighter, just like clips of that. Solar Edition too, obviously. The other was gonna be oil damage back on the Earth, damaged wildlife. And the third one was gonna be the various pictures and whatever Nia had of Tyson. These are meant to be distractions. She does have a respirator on because, gotta be able to breathe.
Here's how we'll settle it, like what the state they're in currently. It would be to a score of first one to land 10 laser hits. You and Lewis are hunkered behind a few trees. Lewis is fucked up. He's got laser burns all over his body, including a deep gash in one of his arms. Probably have quite a few laser burns on yourself as well. Because, as you're about to find out, the tree that you're ducking behind gets cut right in half, and Sally Pimienta's on the other side wielding a laser sword.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, she just clears it right the fuck out and just kicks it over, sending you and Lewis to scramble to this aside so you don't get crushed by it. Throughout the fight, Sally Pimienta has not been listening to reason. She is very difficult to even engage in conversation. She's like in a frenzy.
That's pretty rough. Did they provide us with laser guns, by the way?
You have little laser guns, but they're just they're non-lethal. They're just like actual laser tag guns. She's got the laser sword, and it fucking works.
Oh, so she's just been tagging us with the actual sword?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. So we would probably at this point just probably have ditched our guns or just not even using it.
Like, they're laser guns. They fire off little rays, little beams, projectiles. Lewis actually turns the fire at her, and she just deflects it with her sword in this very flourished motion as she turns her body and dives towards him. He manages to get out of the way just before she can just run him all the way through with the sword. She ends up digging into the ground with it.
Oof. Can Marisol follow this up, since she's probably close, with a Ripple Overdrive?
What do you want to do?
So she's gonna take her whip and just pull back real hard and just, lash out because she didn't have time to do anything really fancy. It's just the moment.
So it's a 6. You're overdriving the attack, putting so much ripple energy through the whip itself.
Wait, also she's gonna invoke one more thing. Because it was a dive for Lewis and it looked really fucking brutal, she's just gonna invoke has feelings for Lewis. Because he's already messed up, so that's not cool. That could have been really close.
Okay, she has a 5. You have up to 8 because you used the whip and you invoked. She's going to re-roll, and then she's going to use her... No, She's gonna eat it. So you whip towards her. You see her try to swing her sword around to cut your whip down, which you could with this laser sword, but the ripple energy actually interferes with the field that composes her laser sword and creates this huge flash of light that explodes outwards and sends her back flying. So the way your overdrive works, you cause 2 shifts instead of 1. The explosion of light actually fucks her up a little, like her body is starting to turn into like an oily residue, almost like she's like melted a bit. She visibly and audibly is in pain here from the hit, from the ripple. It gets through that nearly invincible facade of the Starmen. Yeah, Lewis will, seeing that she's off her balance, have a butterfly land on her and create a clone. And once that happens, he immediately has it shatter, and the black glass transforms into locusts, which swarm her and cause her to drop her sword as she's fighting them off, whipping her hair around in a frenzy. She gets back to her feet and is just whipping at these locusts, this cloud that's surrounding her, in a fury, screaming. She's managing to actually swat quite a few of them out of the air like this, but she is vulnerable now, giving you a +2 advantage if she doesn't manage to pass this opposition of getting them off of her. She can't get free of them quickly enough. She is open.
She's gonna pull back on her whip and just like catch it in her hand and harden it with ripple, straighten it all out. So it's a spear, and she's just gonna launch that right into Sally. I'm gonna burn up a fate to reroll that.
Okay, that's what you're gonna have to pass to land the attack.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn up a fate to invoke Rising to face the challenge, because Marisol's like sort of feeling relentless about this now, since she doesn't see a good way to resolve this peacefully.
So with a 7, yeah, you can, I'll say the spear whip pins her to a tree. She is attempting to wrest it out of her body. Locusts are just crawling all over her, just chewing away at parts of her face, her arms, her legs. With her teeth bared, she is basically disabled for a moment. Lewis stands up and he's just breathing heavily. He is very badly burned. I don't know how we're gonna finish this. Maybe we should just tag her now and let's call it a day, huh?
Yeah, can we just do that and end this? I'm fucking tired.
Lewis takes out his gun and goes to aim it and realizes that it's been cut in half. Ah, shit.
She's fumbling around for hers.
As you're fumbling, Sally sees a moment of hesitation or opening and actually whips one of her hair braids towards you. A 1, 5.
Marisol's just gonna reflexively lunge out of the way. Shit.
She is already pulling the spear whip out of her own body and catches one of the last locusts and crushes it in her hand.
The whip is gonna slacken and like start trying to crawl back to Marisol, like very snake-like.
She steps on it and impales it with her heel, unless you feel like it would be agile enough to avoid that on its own.
Oh no, my snake. No, it's a snake, man.
So after she does that, she actually puts her fingers in her mouth and whistles, and you can hear a distant bark. Ow! And the tree line is beginning to become very devastated as something very strong and very forceful is pushing right through it. A terrible beast, a monster approaches. Did you find your laser pistol?
She found it.
There's a lot of pressure on you right now to make this shot. Even if she is currently not whipping her body around, the impending threat of Juniper is serious. You've seen this thing takes down monsters that are very huge. It would probably tear you and Lewis to pieces if you're unprepared. In the clearing before you take the shot, you can see Juniper running towards you across the grass. Very happy, looks very happy. Ow! Ow!
She tosses her laser gun to Lewis and then takes out the jet spray and get it ready at Juniper.
Sure, Lewis takes the gun and gets ready to aim it. What are you're gonna jet spray at the dog? Like in the nose or something, or?
Yeah, like in the face to get it to back off.
Okay. You don't even need to roll for it. If you do that, it's a dog, so it just immediately fusses and panics and starts rubbing at its own face.
Get back, Juniper. I'm not trying to fight you. Just a dog. I like dogs.
It goes to run away for a moment, but it doubles back, looks at you square in the eye and says, "Woof." and then launches its body. When it does, however, as it's flying towards you in this perfect arc, what you could only describe as a giant needle pierces through the floor and completely knocks this dog out of the air. It gets struck by this and just goes flying away, spinning and rolling.
Team Rocket's off.
As it fucking Team Rocket blasting off again. Except this is a real actual dog, so you just hear it and go into the tree line somewhere. The javelin has pierced right through the heart of the garden, Sally Pimienta's garden. Just this massive missile of metal. What color is the javelin?
Oh, definitely silver. She doesn't bother painting it.
Just a giant silver needle. The whole ship rocks and the lights actually flicker on and off as this happens.
What? She's just gonna go to Lewis just so that she can like pull him and them to safety if they need to, because this is really getting crazy now.
When you do that, Sally Pimienta turns to face the needle and rolls her head around, producing a series of cracks before she starts to engage her hair whips again, preparing to fight whatever this thing is.
It's probably the groaning of metal from inside of the needle as it starts to like peel open and like weld into place. And Marina steps out.
Right behind her, Brisket just scrambles out, runs over to a tree or a bush, and he just starts vomiting. He's just throwing up.
Fucking Brisket?
Yeah.
Your only response is
Tara's probably following and just completely doubling over in pain.
It should be noted that Sugar Ray is likely free now. She probably did that before she came out.
Sugar Ray does gingerly step out, kind of unsure of what their entrance was supposed to be. Although seeing his familiar surroundings, he does come to his senses. Sally Pimienta stares at this. Sugar Ray, what are you doing back? You were exiled. And then she looks at Marina. Who are you?
Marina stares down at her for a while and then just leans back into the ship and goes, Tyson, which one of them is it?
Tyson pokes his head out. Oh, there she is. Sally Pimienta. I came to rescue you with my grandma. Thanks, Granny. All right, let's just take her and leave.
Marina gently fuzzes Tyson's hair.
Marisol's just looking back and forth at like all the faces that just suddenly came out of nowhere, just crashing in. Makes no any sense. All she can do is stare and shake her head and be absolutely confused.
I do not know who that is. I don't know any of you. You're here to interfere with the games of the Starmen. You're my enemy, and you've brought my brother back to torment me.
Marina just looks confused at all of this. I thought you said she was your little girlfriend.
She is. Tyson stumbles out into the clearing. Sally Pimienta, remember we were together. We had butter when we played video games, and we ran away because you didn't want to do this. Don't you remember me? Sally Pimienta stares at him and then clutches her head and then looks back up and sends a hair whip out towards Tyson, which hits him because he wasn't prepared and he doesn't even want to fight. So it just, you see a chunk of his body just get whipped off.
Did Marina try to
like
grab that hair?
Yeah, you can grab it after it's been whipped out. You do grab it, but it's oil. Like as it's retracting out of your hand, it's just turning into black oil.
He shakes her hand to try to get it off in confusion.
She doesn't remember, Tyson. Avicii took away her memories. She doesn't know who you are.
What if you like hugged her or something? I don't know.
Yeah, that'll work.
She's already trying to kill you.
No, Granny. Sometimes a man has to stand up and do what's right. And sometimes that means hugging somebody, even if they're going to kill you. Because that's what Nia Nova taught me.
Marisol's just looking down and tumming her face with her hand.
Tyson begins to walk towards Sally. Don't you remember? Oh, okay, since you don't remember, I was the one who won a Galaxy Fighter like a lot. And you kept saying that you wanted me to teach you how to be better at it. And it wasn't the other way around. She whips him again, taking off his left arm. It just flies right off. He looks back at it as it like rolls away. Ow. Okay. That is maybe, it's going to be hard to hug you with one arm, but I'm going to still try. He just keeps walking.